What is going on, my beautiful people? In this video, we are going to be talking about how do we take massive action to actually get massive results and get better at whatever we're doing. Now, this video is going to be talking about you could literally be doing literally anything. You could be improving communication like I'm doing here, or also trying to get closer to God. This is important, and we're going to talk about it in terms of this helps all these things. And taking massive action is something that I've always wondered, like, okay, what actually is that? Like taking action. You could take action by doing little things that don't really matter. But this dude named Owen Cook, who is amazing at what he freaking does, gave a perfect perspective on taking massive action. And what he said is how he views taking massive action is putting himself into places that show the holes in his boat fast. What that means is putting himself into places that allow him to see the weaknesses that he has, the places that he needs to get better, the places that he actually is not very good at, whatever it might be. Now, that is something that we can do too. What that basically means is you're putting yourself into places where you're learning stuff, maybe you're getting better, but you're trying to put yourself into places where you see oh, that actually didn't work at all, or I have this, but now I still need also this. Here's the way that I could put it. For me, I'm getting better at communication. That's my thing. And not only that, but mostly the number one thing I'm doing is trying to get into the presence of God, into the peace, love, hope, joy of God. And I've noticed that how I show my holes in my boat is by putting myself into places that aren't necessarily the most uncomfortable. Going and being in places that there's a lot of hectic environment going on and stuff like that. And, or you're trying to talk with people, you're trying to be in a place where you can talk with people. And it's small little things, but even for myself, I'll go and I'll be with even family and I'll go over there and I'll have a great time with them. But I still want to get into the presence of God more. I want to be able to bring the presence of God more. And I'm noticing that when I go out there and I do that, I'm like, okay, now I know how to be in the stillness of God. Now I still want to bring the joy of God, not only to myself, but to everybody that I'm around. And that is something where I noticed that was a hole in my boat. I'm like, okay, I have the peace of God, but I still want to bring the joy. And I don't necessarily know how to do that. But I got to that place because I allowed myself to be in situations where I'm going into a place where I didn't know if it was going to go amazing or whatever, but in a situation where, whether it's with my girlfriend's family or anything like that, where it could have gone very bad, it could have gone terrible. But it's I put myself into that situation that might be a little bit uncomfortable for me sometimes, and allows me to see okay, this is where I need to get better at. Or for myself, there's times where I would go out there and I noticed I would get very damn self-conscious about certain parts about myself, like my hair. If my hair wasn't looking good one day, I would be in the situation and I would get upset and I would get mad or whatever. But it was good because that showed me that was a big hole in my boat and allowed me to patch it with the love of God by allowing myself to find a verse for that and putting that into there and stop being self-conscious about it. It's still something I'm still trying to patch fully, but it's so much better, so much better. So what I really want you to think about is, what are you trying to get better at first off? And how can you train your awareness to start focusing on how you're getting better at it and the holes in your boat? What I mean is there's things that are going to hold you back right now, or places that you're going to want to get better. Maybe you can't maintain the peace of God when you're going out in a certain situation, and it's yeah, I'm really good, but then when I'm around certain people, I just can't hold that peace. I get a little bit self-conscious. For me, I would get that too. And what I would do is I found a verse, because I found that hole in myself. I'm I focus on the approval of people too much, man. I'm focusing on the approval of people too much. I've had multiple little things here and there that showed that hole in the boat. But once I finally decided to patch it and it got bad enough of putting myself in those situations enough, I was all right, I really need to patch this hole. I go to find a verse and I find Jeremiah 17:17, which talks about, blessed is the man who puts his trust into the Lord, who puts his hope/confidence in the Lord. That has helped me so damn much. I've been saying that to myself over and over every time I feel that insecurity. So you might have something right now where it's this insecurity. It's this thing that you're worrying about. And it's just right now you might be seeing it as something that you just hate, you wish it was just gone. But God might be trying to show you something through that. And I know this video wasn't about God or nothing, but this is so important. He might be trying to show you something to that so that you can patch that hole that you have in your boat. But going towards God, asking him for guidance, and then finding the patch for it. You can even go on ChatGPT, just trying to brainstorm it, or just asking God for those answers, and he leads you day by day, helping you find that. And I found these things not only in scripture, but also God shows me stuff in my day-to-day life. I'm watching a movie sometimes and all of a sudden I get an answer to my question I've been having about this specific thing. But it all starts with having the awareness of what you're improving what you're trying to improve, and how you're paying attention to the holes that you have in your boat, the holes that are holding you back from actually booming up off the ground, off of that thing. And I really know that once you start getting in tune with that and start getting in tune, like, whether it's getting close to God, in the presence of God, knowing that if you're not in His joy and His peace and His love, there's something going wrong. You're worrying too much about it. We're focusing on ourselves. That peace, that joy and abundance is available to us at all times. And man, it's so fun. It's so fun when we start to look at it like that, because now I can go out to a situation where I normally would have been like a little bit uncomfortable, going out in a social situation where it's like, oh, I don't know how that one's going to go out. And it's like, oh, I'm excited because this is going to show some holes in my boat. Acknowledging that it is going to show some damn holes. Like, not expecting everything to go perfect, but knowing I'm going to have a fun time. I'm going to do as best I can and have fun with these people. And it's probably acknowledging the fact that I will have some holes. Sometimes I'm going to lose my presence. Sometimes I'm going to get a little bit insecure. Sometimes I'm going to worry about my hair and it takes me out of the moment, even when I'm talking to somebody. And I'm like, okay, no, I don't want to do that. That showed me that. Or sometimes, let me think about what else. Sometimes I'm talking with somebody and it's hard to maintain the love for them because they're saying something that is bad or saying something that is very negative. But it's just all holes in our boat that we can get better at. And once we start looking at it as something that we're excited about, we start going into those uncomfortable situations, literally just freaking diving like Foxy from Five Nights at Freddy's, man, diving full on and going into it. And I hope that we can do that today, man. I hope you guys are having an amazing one. And let me know down in the comments below, what are some holes that you have in your boat currently, and what are you trying to get better at? Love you guys. Hope you're having an amazing one. Peace.